name's Brian English, forum name Hyperbytes, and we're going to be looking now at parsing inputs as part of our introduction to Wappler extensions part 5. Just to remind us where we were inputting a query called query in there. We're processing that within our module, but unfortunately if we run that, all that's giving us is the word query. In other words, the name of the query that's being sent to it rather than the content of that query. Not a lot of use, but what we can very easily do is to convert that into the full content. What we do is we use the a parse statement. So at its most basic level, and this isn't a method that I recommend use all the time, I can say something like const data equals this parse options dot my data. So what we've done is we parsed this options my data input, and that should then convert it to our data rather than the name of the query. So I'm going to save that. Let's run that again, and now we see, yes, successfully it has parsed that data and returned the data itself rather than the name of the query, which is what we want in the first place. You can actually parse the entire options input, and then just it will iteratively work through those options. Not a methodology that I use. And the reason I don't use that is because there are two other parse options that we can use, and that is parse required and parse optional. Now this data input would be required, so what we can actually say is parse required. Okay, we send it the input. We then have to tell it what data type we would be sending it. In this case, we'll just say text. And then we can define an error message that will be output in the event of that required input not being present. So we could say something like this query input must be available. If I now save that, if I've got that right, then we can go into there and we run it. We'll still get we got a message there. So let's just enable that debug flag, because I don't know what I've done off the top of my head. Let's open debug mode. Let's run that module again, and it's saying this input must be available. So it's, for some reason it is not detecting that. Let's have a look why. It's certainly there, so I suspect that's possibly a data type issue. So let's try sending it, telling it it's an object, which is actually what it would be. There we are. So that just shows how that you need to ensure that you know what type of data is being passed to it. In this case, it's an object that's being passed, so we must define that as an object. Mistakenly, I put text. Tends to happen when you're thinking of 25,000 things while you're doing a video. So there we've got. There is also another option that is available. I'll just comment that out, because the other option is, we could say const data equals parse optional. And in this particular case, we'll obviously be sending it our identical data, so we'll be calling it options, my data. We would say what type of object it is again. So we'd be telling it is an object in this case. But lastly, instead of putting an error message, we would actually give it a default piece of data. So let's say we're going to give it just test. In this case, if we run this, obviously the data is there, so we're not going to get another mistake there. It's the beauty of doing these, because you can just literally bounce in and out. I forgot this. Just bounce in and out of them and then rerun them, and there we are. This is actually, for some reason, returned the optional rather than the the default rather than the original. Again, let's have a look and see why we've done that. There we are. You see, I've got a spelling mistake there, but that's actually been great because it's illustrated that that does work, that it comes back with that. And then lastly, I fire that up, and there we are. We've got the data. So they are the two methods that I would recommend: the parse required, parse optional. You have the straightforward parse available if for any reason you need to, and that will take any input. It can be static or dynamic. If it's static, then it probably won't do anything to it, obviously. If it's dynamic, it will parse that and give you the dynamic content that you require for that. Sorry about those few little faux pas as we went through, but I'm a great believer in leaving them, because they're all learning tools at the end of the day. My mistakes might be something that you replicate, and by seeing me make them, you can A, have a little bit of fun and laugh at me, and secondly, when it happens to you, you've got a bit of an inkling as to what's gone wrong. So thanks for joining me in this module 5, and we'll be moving on to looking at adding different types of input into your first module. So thanks for being with me, and hopefully you'll join me next time.